Hi, I'm Helga from Helga's Pennsylvania Cooking. Today I'm working on a lamb roast dinner. I'm having family over for a Passover Seder. I'm going to be doing a roast leg of lamb on Montreal seasoning, then with a glaze of maple syrup, and I slow roast that overnight, actually in my crock pot. I'll be serving that with mint jelly. I'm also doing a matzo ball soup, latkes, a braised red cabbage, red beets, asparagus, cinnamon applesauce, and a Jewish apple cake for dessert. So I'm going to bring you along as I sear off the roast and get that ready and put that in the crock pot for the evening. I've got my pan hot, a little butter to sear it off. I'm going to throw in some Montreal seasoning. And I've told you before I really like using this. Basically it's just a mix of a couple of different kind of peppers, coarse salt, and paprika and garlic. And then I'm going to lift in my first roast and get that searing. You want a nice sear on the roast to put in the crock pot, and I do this for any time I'm doing roasts of any kind, because you want to be able to seal in all the moisture while your roast is cooking. That way it doesn't become dried out. So whether I'm using a Dutch oven, doing it in a roaster, doing it in the crock pot, I always sear them off. Get a nice sear and coating on it so that it holds all the juices in. And when you're doing this and roasting or cooking, they make meat thermometers for a reason. Use them. Every time you poke them to check how done they are or if they're ready yet, you let the important juices inside out. And that's oftentimes what makes for dry roasts. This was actually a rolled roast. And then I have my leg of lamb. I'm going to throw in a little bit more butter. So it's nice and golden brown. A little fresh seasoning. That searing. Now, most people I know don't do their lamb in maple syrup. However, I was fortunate enough to grow up in a family that had cousins that have a sugar shack, their own maple syrup, up in western New York State. And so we cook with it a lot. And if you can use natural sugars like maple syrup and honey instead of regular sugar, you're far better off. They both have actually a lot of health benefits and properties that regular sugar does not. They're much better for you. Not sure how good this shows up or not, but work on getting searing what we can of it. It's an awkward piece of meat, but we'll do as much of it as we can. And then I'll pour the maple syrup glaze over top, which is Sir Amber maple syrup. Okay, we seared it about as well as we can sear it. I'm going to lift this into our pan over here. Get that in. And then I'm going to go ahead and just pour syrup over the top. And I'll just put this on low and slow for the night and let this work. And we'll continue on with the rest of the meal in the morning. Okay, we're back. My lamb is pretty well done. That's off to the side. This is the next morning. I'm working on the Jewish apple cake, which is 3 cups of flour, a half teaspoon of salt, 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 cups white sugar, 1 cup vegetable oil, 4 eggs beaten, a 1/4 cup of orange juice, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 3 apples, of course peeled and sliced. And I'll mix this up, no beater noise this time, no mixer noise, and then pour it in the pan. When we pour it in the bump pan, it goes in 2 parts. You put in half the batter, layer the apples in the middle, then I have also 5 teaspoons of cinnamon sugar. It's 5 teaspoons of sugar with a teaspoon of cinnamon that I sprinkle in the middle. Put the rest of the batter on top, sprinkle a little more sugar, and then that goes in the oven. And let's look here. It goes in at 350. And that goes in for almost an hour. So I'm going to prep my braised cabbage, my latkes, my asparagus, my matzo ball soup in the meantime, while this is in the oven baking. So now, and I'll mute the mixer noise, but you can watch me put it together. That was quick. I have the bump pan here ready to go. This gets floured and greased. We add our apples in. Nice layer. That's the apple part of the Jewish apple cake. And you can make a lot of different desserts for this. This is just one that I always really like. I love apple cake, and it makes a nice accompaniment to the rest of the meal. If people are wondering how I end up making a lamb roast dinner and Passover Seder, Part of my family is Swiss and Prussian Jewish, and the other part is Seneca Native American Indian, which makes for a really interesting mix. And then of course, a lot of those recipes carried over. Plus the region that I grew up in here. My parents are actually from western New York, and some of their families also settled in northern Pennsylvania. But I was born and raised right here all my life. So, grew up with it. We'll sprinkle the part of the sugar, cinnamon sugar, over this here. I'm going to add the rest of my batter. Spread it out, get it even. Okay, and I'm going to spread the rest of my sugar on top and throw this in the oven. And then we'll be back. Okay, I told you I'm making matzo ball soup today. I've got a cup of matzo meal. It's 4 eggs, 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and you just mix that together. Once mixed together, I chill it for about 15 minutes. I have the broth going already on the stove, and that's 5 cups of water. And I actually use, if you're going to use bouillon, the best stuff I've found so far is actually a neat product called Better Than Bouillon. That stuff is awesome. It makes the best broths if you don't have your own stock made, which I usually try to make, but I don't always have enough in the freezer. So that's good stuff. And not that I'm a product whore, but I really like this stuff. It really works well. And I use that for even making some of my sauce and broth for chicken and waffles and that kind of stuff. Alright, this is all mixed up. That's about what it should look like. We're going to put it in the fridge for 15 minutes. That allows it to firm up. Then we can make it into balls that drop nicely into the broth and cook up. And we'll be back. Okay, so here's how the Jewish apple cake came out. I have that set up. Here's the latkes, so you can see what they look like. These are Mike's mom's red beet eggs, and she does them.
Eggs? They look like red beets to me.
Red beets without the eggs. Thank you. Red beets. And that's sugar and water, vinegar, and allspice, whole allspice. And she cans them almost every summer. They're a real treat, and we always like having them. Her recipe is actually really similar to my dad's canning recipe, so, you know, that's always a nice addition. That's the braised cabbage. I have some cinnamon applesauce. Here's the matzo balls and soup and broth. Here's some of the roast lamb, and that just came out so nice and tender, just wonderful, with the maple glaze. And there's mint jelly on the table to go with it. Yeah, there's the mint jelly. There's the steamed asparagus with a little bit of Parmesan cheese on it. And this is what the Seder looks like, just in case anybody was curious.
It was very tasty.
And here's the whole gang, well, except Dad. Dad, you don't have to be quiet. This is the family dishing up.
No, she just wants to be out of the picture. She's hiding.
Dad'll be in a little bit here. We're going to do the actual Passover Seder ceremony after we eat dinner here. But, so this is everybody dishing up. You see Mike. Mike's mom's over on the left, our good friend Donnie.
Yep, I will get you the soup.
My mom's down at the end, and hey Mom, give a shout out.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, that's so quiet. You petite, quiet little thing, you.
And behind Mike is my cousin Katharina. Hi Kathy. I wanted to do a wrap up of the Passover dinner and ceremony we had yesterday. Right after the dinner we went into the ceremony and I did video that. I've kept that back for the family, and you know, it's also of a religious nature. If people have questions or are interested, you know, feel free to message me about it. But I wanted to just do a wrap up on it. Through part of the videoing, I lost a little bit of my footage where I was putting together the cabbage and the latkes and the matzo ball soup. I have included some directions where I was sauteing and frying them up, and I'm including all of the recipes on my blog, which is www.pennsylvaniacooking.blogspot.com, and also Helga's Pennsylvania Cooking on my Facebook page. So all the recipes will be there, and I'll include links to them at the bottom of this video. Still working out some of the bugs, but I'm starting to get the hang of this. Upcoming vids, I'm looking at doing things like PA meats, some different game that we cook here, Polish foods, pierogies and halupki and halushki and blinis and good stuff like that. But I wanted to thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like what you see, you know, come back and visit again. I'm doing an intro here shortly to give you a better idea of where this channel is going to go. Thanks a lot. Bye.